to get a certificate of what I thought I already knew. But I'm glad that even beyond that, I learned many more new things. It's the beauty of learning. And one of my lecturers is here, Daktari. I then went to the University of Nairobi, enrolled for Masters of waiting for the graduation. I decided to enroll for a short course at the London School of Economics, which I have finished, and I'm very glad about that. And I'm doing these things because, not because I want a pay increment in terms of salary. You know, ours is fixed. It doesn't matter how many PhDs you do. But it's because I interacted a lot when I was serving in my previous station with a lot of government officials, and I realized the kind of weight of the faith with senior government officials, and I could go home thinking that this is not we are not doing the In Kiharu, I am very glad that we have been able to hold our In fact, yesterday I was meeting with the members of parliament from Tana River. They came to my office before I came here. We were trying to see how they can do the kind of projects we are doing in Kiharu. And I realized that the entire which are actually 65 in number, seven we have built new from scratch out of that 65. All the learners only pay 500 shillings per term as school fees. And the program is predominantly supported by NGCDF. And they eat in school from Monday to Saturday. And those of us, I'm sure, depending on our staple food in the various parts of Kenya, our schools eat our staple food from Monday to Saturday. So in our place, we have changed. They eat our staple food, which is githeri, 3 days, and then some rice 3 days. And they also take chapati every last Friday of the month of our lunch. And I'm not saying that we are piloting. This program has been running for the last 3 years. We only lowered the school fees. We only lowered the school fees this year, but it has been 1,000 since 2023. So it's a program that has been running. And I was trying to lower it so that I see very well. So the program has been running for the last 3 years, and we are not doing it for today's output. This program, I do it for decades output. When we have everyone acquiring quality education, ni kama vile unapanda mahindi. Upandi mahindi uvune kesho, ama unapanda mti ya mangoes. You don't plant it to start the next season. We do it because we know the future of our economy, and especially of our taxonomy called Kiharu. The biggest input we can have is education. And that is why we go all out. And we also support those who are in boarding schools. We support those who are in tertiary institutions, in the soft side, that is making sure they are in school, because education basically is the reason we are in this hall. If you remove it from you as a product, as an input, there is no way you'd be in this hall. And the best way to give that opportunity to as many as possible is to make sure that they access what we accessed at the most minimal cost. I'm done about Kiharu. So I am here now at ISPAC and AWAC. Such an event or such a conference, there is a lot that can be said, and especially by us who have been privileged to be invited here as speakers. And therefore, when you see me, I'm cherry picking a few points from that are not so coherent, it's because I would have wanted to cover as much as possible, but time is limited. So I'll be moving from maybe this pora to the next, so that we cover some more ground in terms of breadth and length. But I have been listening to many issues around women empowerment. And from where I start now, we are now past when we could be invited in such a function to come and sympathize. I'm sure you have attended those kind of functions as women or ladies, where the theme is like sympathizing with how ladies and women have been left behind. We are no longer now there, and I'm very proud about that. Now women and ladies are even showing the way. In many instances, we are following. And that is a very good point to start, because what makes our society is all of us, in all our demographics. Not just gender, but also age. Not just age, but our backgrounds. That is what we call a society. And when we say that Kenya is progressing, or Africa, or the world, and I'll be leaning, when I talk about, I'll be leaning more on the economic side and investments and anything about money. So even when I'm saying advancing, I mean that side. So when we say that the world is advancing, what do we actually mean? We mean the livelihoods are becoming better. We mean the cost of living is becoming lower relative to the income. And we mean that the incomes are going higher relative to the standard of life that we need to keep up with. For the economy to grow, when we talk about the economy, is usually us. There is no drawer in an office called government called the economy. There is no drawer utaambiwa fungua hiyo drawer ndio ya economy. Funga sasa tuende hii ingine hakuna. The economy is us here, our parents in our various villages, our aunties in our various estates, our uncles in their various places of work, and our mothers in our various offices. That is what the economy is. When we add what we are all doing called output, it is what gets measured, and then we say the GDP grew or the GDP did not grow, it grew faster or didn't grow faster. And therefore, when we talk about incorporating all of us, men, women, the young, the not very young, across all demographics, we are actually talking about the growth of our economy. Because economy also measures productivity. Productivity is, we are 100 people who their total output is what becomes the GDP. So the more I produce, and the more the other persons produce, the total sum, which is the economy, then increases. What I want to mean is this. When we were growing up, and the generations behind our that came before our parents, some of the demographics, majority of us in this hall would be dependents. There is a language I want to avoid totally in this seminar, so I know you mtavuta ili mshike what I'm trying to say. We would be at home doing what? Doing work at hapo nyumbani, kuangalia boma. So what that means is that we throw in the productivity over half of the population to below what is recorded by the government figures. How wise would that be to any economy? That's why sometimes I sympathize with these economists who try to oppress women. I sympathize with them, even futuristically. Because you are cutting off half of the population not to be productive. What that means is that the productivity of the other half, then, when you look for average, it will be half of itself. Because if half increases by 100, but the other half does not increase by anything, the average then is 0 to the half of this other one. So the productivity for everyone on average goes down. And therefore, the issue we talk about equality, equity, giving opportunities to everyone, including our sisters, our mothers, it should not be an issue we are discussing in conferences. It should never. Because it is the most reasonable, logical thing to do. That you give a lady the opportunity to do what they can do best. Because as they advance their productivity, the productivity of the entire economy then progresses. So equality, equity, opportunities for all, starting from education, that is not an issue that people should discuss. It is an issue that we should all implement, and especially at the macro sense. I'll highlight a few points because the chair told me, tukikuja Mombasa, let's not talk too much difficult jargons. And because you had other speakers, that's what the chair told me. These people are waiting to hear from you about investments. So the other points, I thought they are important, but I'll go direct to what you are looking for. Because we had very distinguished speakers who would highlight the other areas better than myself. But allow me a few minutes to highlight some few things that I thought are important, because here we have people serving in the public sector, we have people serving in the private sector, we have people with or running their own businesses. And there are things that cut across which I also learn when I'm speaking about them. And it's about leadership, it's about impact, and it's about sustainable growth. Not about the country, about ourselves, our organizations, our businesses. So don't look at it purely about you work for the Central Bank of Kenya, so you just zero into the Central Bank of Kenya. You look at it expansively. The first thing is that many times we confuse that leadership is just being elected. That you've been elected as an MCA, as an MP, all the way to the highest position. But leadership happens across. Even where you are not in mid-level management, you are also a leader. So we must carry that obligation without necessarily passing over to the next boss. Let the responsibility rest where you are so that you provide solutions to the level where you are. Political leaders, business leaders, social impact leaders, whatever we do, because we cannot all fit in the bank to become CEOs of the bank, we can't all fit in to become politicians. Wherever we are serving, you may actually end up having higher impact where you are serving more than I could have as a politician. The second thing I have come to appreciate about leading with integrity. And because like all of you here, we all have ambitions of becoming very wealthy and rich. I can tell by the faces that I am seeing, you all want to be rich and wealthy. And even if in a home, financially independent, we all want that. Yes, I am, you are somebody's wife, mother, but there's nothing wrong with being financially independent. Even supporting him when he needs a boost. Unfortunately, there is no much response. So, I have come to appreciate that I have never studied the wealthiest people in Africa or the wealthiest in Germany or France or the world where I have seen a swindler being featured. I have never seen somebody being featured in the Forbes list. And the designation is that they stole money using a pen. I have never seen one. I have also never seen one person being celebrated, receiving any prize, be it Nobel or any otherwise. And the designation there is that he was too intelligent in stealing. And therefore it means, in whatever we are doing, money is not the head of it. If money is not the head of it, it means you can get more of it by not looking at it as the head. But it is also important to get money where you can sleep at night and you don't have bad dreams. And I can say that loudly. You'd rather have in fact, the money you look with your own hands and brain, somehow it comes with its own fertilizer. Unaweka pahali, matunda ni mingi. Hii ingine kwanza, the harm, the mental torture of trying to hide from what you did last week, the energy you put into that would be enough to make you double the money. So leading with integrity. And I'm not here as a moralist. I'm here as a pragmatist. The third thing is, as we lead, including Kiharu, all of us here, whatever leadership role we are having, because majority of us are already having those leadership roles. Collaboration. When you are a leader and you want to grow and you can't collaborate, it means you're already grounding yourself. Because whatever I do as member of parliament for Kiharu, when I come here and hold the mic and I talk about Kiharu Masomo Bora, practically think, am I in Kiharu today? Am I supplying rice or unga ya ngano ya kupika chapati? It means there is a lot of collaboration with teams, with the principals, with officers in my office, that is the staff, with the people involved. When you talk about projects we implement through labor-based. It is not me who go there to supervise. It is the collaboration. But what gets reported, the chair will hold the mic when you invite Ndindi Nyoro in a function, and he will say he's been rated as the best performing MP. Just think about that. Think about that with the position you hold. A best performing MP. Where are all these other people then? Because I've never held a shovel to build a classroom. But she holds the mic and says, tupigie makofi mheshimiwa. Amefanya kazi ya Kiharu masomo bora. Fine. I'm not the implementer. What am I trying to say here? As a leader, if you don't have the capacity to collaborate, it is important from today you teach yourself through polishing your personality to be a leader who collaborates. Because collaboration does not only help the team members, it actually helps you as the leader. Because what you'll get reported at the end is what the team did, and you are the representative of the team. Collaboration means you also feel the other people, you also provide solutions, you show the way, but you also listen so that you can continue making the system better, the system of the area that you serve and work. There is a course specifically I am pursuing on navigating through challenges and opportunities. It's one of the courses I'll be undertaking at Harvard. That course, there is something I want to investigate beyond what we all know. Because there is something I've seen. We remember Margaret Thatcher. We remember Angela Merkel. We remember all these ladies, Wangari Maathai, and the others. In functions, we show their photos for inspiration. A photo will be put here for inspiration of a lady who did so well, of a man who did so well, Winston Churchill and the rest. But there is usually no footnote or another slide showing the kind of challenges they went through. So when you are leading and when you are progressing, it will be naive for us to think that you'll get a straight line, which you can see from here the head. That's not how things are framed. We must know that the people we read and they inspire us, we only usually see the one side, ile wamejipaka mafuta na makeup. We don't see the other side where they even never had time to comb their hair. They never had time to apply even Vaseline on their face. That area we don't see. When we talk about Margaret Thatcher, no one of us here would raise the hand and say she was bad. But do you know in the 1981, Margaret Thatcher approval rating was 19%. It means she was so down, no one in Britain wanted to see her. But you are here with your small challenge in your office. This is the one that just hit you fast, and you're almost giving up. My friend, you can't afford to do that. Because there is no history book anywhere that remembers people who did so well without conquering challenges. So when challenges come, they should make us stronger. In our various areas, huyu bosi wangu mtu bure, sasa hata ukifanya hii hasikii. That's a good challenge to handle. The other challenge, and the other, and the other. I'm avoiding to go to specifics because we are very diverse here in terms of where we work. You are an MP, and then a small challenge hits you, you can't think. The people we read and admire, part of the reason we admire them is conquering challenges, whatever diversity is. The other thing is mentorship. Mentorship is both backward and forward. Backward mentorship is the one you become a mentee. And I can tell you, some of these things, we started hearing them from nursery school. mentorship, integrity, nini, all those things are, every time you come to a seminar, you can always start taking notes of the things that will be spoken there. And before you attend, you already have the notes. It's because of their importance, and it's also because I think somehow it is known we hear but we don't do. So we need to keep on reminding ourselves. There is a story I always give. When I left campus, not when I left, when I was in first year, I started working for a stockbroking company of our former MP called Kenya Kariuki. Ilikuwa inaitwa Kenya Kariuki and Company Stockbrokers. In my first year, long vacation. A stockbroking company of our former MP Kenya Kariuki. Just listen to this again. A stockbroking company in my first year in campus of our former MP Kenya Kariuki. I'm repeating because that's the point I want you to get. I was first year, I started working in a stockbroking company owned by a person who was MP for Kiharu. I am here. Most of what I do, economically speaking, is in the capital markets, meaning stockbroking and the rest, and investments, and I'm MP for Kiharu. Do you think that is a coincidence? That is not a coincidence. That him, who is Kenya Kariuki, used to be a youth winger of our other former MP called Kenneth Matiba. That our current governor, Kenyatta, and myself were youth wingers of Kenya Kariuki when he died in Kiharu in 2007. That Kenyatta became MP for Kiharu. And that Nyoro is the current MP for Kiharu. And that all those people are not related by blood. Even if I say nothing else about mentorship. Mentorship is not about, oh my, nikitaka kuwa kama Olive Mogenda. Nikitaka kuwa kama governor this or that, governor Achani. Mimi nikitaka nikuwe kama Family Bank CEO yule Nancy. Sawa sawa, tumekusikia. Tumekusikia na umesema vizuri. And then nataka kuwa MP. You know I'm already a CPA. Mimi hata nataka nikuwe mbunge, ndio hii ujuzi niko nayo nipeleke huko bunge. And then practical mentorship, you have to get from your comfort zone and go to learn in the field. You have to look for that person who you admire to be like. Even if hawapatikani, follow them in terms of their mienendo, what they do. And I can tell you for sure, it will be wrong for you to run your own experiences, to run into a ditch just because you didn't want to ask somebody, on this path, where am I likely to get a ditch? Where am I likely to get a valley? It will be a waste of time for us not to run from the people who have already trodden on that path. And that is what is mentorship. But after that, that is backward mentorship, where you learn from others. And I can tell you practically what I've seen. There are so many people willing to hold people's hands. That person you admire to be like, maybe you'll be the second person to tell them, I want practical mentorship. Why? Because many people just meet them. Oh, I admire you. You are doing very well. Then they leave. So it is, take that next step. You'll be surprised that they are very receptive to guide you. That's backward. After backward mentorship, then there is forward mentorship. Forward mentorship is making many copies of yourself. When you're in the office and you have a team of 15, you can imagine how good that would be if you are a mentor to all the 15. The kind of cohesive team you'd create. But do you know what? Collaboration and forward mentorship are the same in most instances when we are leaders. But what do we have? Our ego. Our ego. I'm MP. How can I sit down with my staff like equals? Then your ego, inakusaidia na nini? It reduces your output. You are leading a team of 30. but you are leading them as a headmaster when we were in school. Not the current headmasters are good. You know the headmasters when we were in school, you see them, you start crying without knowing whether they are actually commending you for a good job done. Or our parents where you would see them and you start crying. That's not the kind of mentorship. I'm talking about a mentorship where those team members you work with and you are their boss, they're actually looking forward to coming to work because they learn from you. You have cloned yourself to many copies. And therefore you are increasing productivity, not just for yourself, but also for the team, and for the society, and for the country, and for the world. So don't feel like inferior to run from others. I have also segmented myself, mentorship, into other areas. Mentorship of the things I would want to do, but I also learn from other people on the things I would never do in their position. That is also mentorship. Mentorship is when you know people. Yes, there are good things you've learned, but there are many things you have learned that you can't do. And always note them down. Don't trust your mind all the time. That the things you hear, like in this conference, you remember all of them. So even in mentorship, sometimes when you learn a critical thing about something, write it down somewhere. Have a notebook in your computer where you write, you segment life lessons, investment lessons, and now the rest. So that when you see a critical point which is not likely to change in the foreseeable future, you write it there as one of your principles. So that you make your life easier, haraka haraka. Of course, focusing on impact, you've learned about that, and strategic decision making, and sustainable transformation, which we must look at them not just about sustaining ourselves, but sustainable development must always be about the community and the society. Let me tell you something, my sisters. I'm now in the opportunities. And I'll talk about the opportunities of where I am, politics. And I'll be very honest and fair. Last elections, I was very involved in the national politics. And we finished campaigns. And the team we were supporting that time won. That time. And therefore, we now started building government. Looking for CSs, for PSs. I've never said this, but now you may use it. Because I think me staying with it does not help me. It will help you more. But that time we were a cohesive team. The former deputy president, the others. So we were literally now looking for people to occupy various positions. Directors of this, that. And there is one CS currently sitting. I remember we called for a meeting in the private office of one of the leaders we were with. We had never seen her. She was introduced to us by another friend of ours from Kirinyaga. So the lady came. We wanted to see whether she can fill up a position of a PS. So ilikuwa interview lakini hakuwa anajua. So tukamuuliza maswali hivyo kidogo kidogo. I don't know what to name her name, but she's currently in the cabinet. Now, as we talk. One profound thing I want you, forget about all the other things. One profound thing I want you to leave with in this conference today. Ladies, my sisters, the opportunities out there, the big ones, are more than the people who would occupy them. one thing starts in the way. It's called visibility. Let me tell you, and I've said I am being practically honest so that whatever is in me will help you instead. Because me carrying it doesn't help me. I have told you this is a lady we met when we had already won. What does that tell you? That there were more positions to give than there were people to give. Because it means by the time we are meeting the people we never knew, and that time we are meeting them to occupy a very high position, it means you've already exhausted the people who are around you. As we go to elections, one thing you must know as a lady, there is something Kiraito Morogi said some time back, and I don't know whether people took note. And he said, paraphrasing, he was campaigning, and he said, hii viti ya CEC na nini unazitafutia saa hii. That time he was not governor, he was running. When there are campaigns, because now we are talking about kiti yote ya CS, ya PS, hapo juu hiyo cream, hapo, you work, some of you work in bureaucracies. Those people who are planted into your office, after you worked there for 30 years, they come and become your boss. You know them, eh? Those are the ones I'm talking about. The biggest purification I've seen, beyond now what you have, you already CPA, you are already BCom, you are already masters, you are already pursuing this. But there's no visibility. How do you create visibility? Ask any governor in Kenya. Ask them how they got their CECs. The number one CEC is a person who only sent them a message. You are doing a good job, continue with your campaigns. Nothing more. Why? No one else sent. And I'm being honest with you guys. Sorry. Kiingereza ya USA ingine inachangana namna hiyo. There is one guy here. I was actually addressing you. Listen to me, guys and beautiful ladies. But gentlemen, you may not listen too much about this. Nyinyi mnajua kujitafutia saa ingine. People run campaigns. Let me put it plainly. They win. But do you know what happens? That governor is vying. Campaign is dirty. Campaign, utapigwa mawe huko. Campaign, after they win, nataka kiti ya CEC. That campaign, I don't like it. I don't like the way they speak. After they win, these people are giving PSs to people who are not qualified. I can tell you from where I start. Many times leaders make those decisions limited on the people they know. Not just knowing one-on-one, visible. I can tell you that time in my phone, I called several people. The only thing I had done, I had seen them on TV. There is a lady from Kepsa, I will not mention, maybe you know her. She used to appear on TV many times. So we are here scratching our heads. Who can be PS for this? Who can be this? Who can be this? I picked up my phone, looked for her number. I didn't even have it. Called her. Why? I had seen her on TV. I was not even remembering what she was saying on TV. But I had seen her. So, as you strategize about your life between now and next year, October, know one thing. A lot about your life can change so drastically. And many times, as I'm repeating, you don't have to quit your job and go volunteer in a political office. Just be around there visible. In a caucus on economics, you are there offering your part-time job on crafting a manifesto. You are there, unasaidia sijui kuweka nini hapo. Especially you who is qualified. And when you are given money, you don't take. When you are told, let's reimburse you mafuta. Unasema, no. Me, I believe in this cause. And I'm not saying which. choose. This is what usually happens after all. People win, there are MPs to be nominated. They don't come from the air. They come from just around there. You realize you are too qualified among the people there. But because you are also calculating, you have calculated your way. And you realize you are two of you only calculating that way. The rest will only fall in as default settings. And even in the national level, when you pick a camp which you are supporting, don't support from the sidelines. Enda tu hapo wewe ukue hapo visible. Saa zingine unaonekana hapo. Maureen, hebu simama. Maureen, how did I know her? When I was vying in my first campaign 2017, that time I needed people to fill up my msafara. Nionekana niko serious, eh? So mnakuja na gari nikizunguka msafara inaonekana ni mrefu. This girl bana grows younger every year. Now, that time, she started coming with my sister hapo. Kamsafara kanakuwa karefu. Sasa, mnafikiria mambo ikienda hivi na hivi na hivi, Maureen ako wapi? Maureen, you may sit. What did she lose? Nothing. So saa zingine, tafuta hata huyo mtu anapigania hiyo kiti. Go with a different perspective. I may not give you votes, but when you make up your office, I want to be in the background team, making your manifesto, nini. You realize this. This is what I realized. You will not only get your job, you realize in that office, it is you who will be giving other people jobs. I have told you this. Forget all the other points I'll speak. The one that will help you personally is that one. Visibility. Visibility ni hivyo, unaingiana na team members who, unaona, let's say there are 3 camps or 2 which are strong. Moja enda ujivolunteer hapo kama something accountant nini hapo, economist, we are making a manifesto, start calculating around it. You unakuwa na kaofisi hapo, unaendaga Saturday afternoon, uko na ka team. There's nothing you are doing much in terms of politics. You are doing more about your profession. When these teams win, automatically, those people who get planted in your office after serving after 20 years, 25 years, anaplantiwa hata hana experience, now that person will be you. You are the one people will be saying, sasa huyu ametoka wapi? Wewe mwenyewe. Yani, siokei ati ile kiti yuko, wewe unafanya CPK, kwani governor Central Bank anachaguliwa wangu aje? Anyone here who works for CPK, I want to be practical, for CPK, sitakwambia useme jina, because sitaki usufutwe kazi. Hakuwezi kosa. Anyone anafanya Kenya National Bureau of Statistics? They are there. Now, wewe na qualification you are CEO. Wewe. Who has more papers? Say it loud, who? Now, then what is it? Why kwa nini usikali? Si uende kesho umwambia I have more papers than you. So, visibility number 1, ni volunteering. Visibility number 2, usikae na chenye unajua. Citizen wanatafuta mtu wa kuhoji stories juu ya economy na uko hapo, enter. Go and give your perspective. Create your brand. Start creating your name hapo. As a lady, you'll have such a huge opportunity wavelength that you can't exhaust it. Just by the name. The lady I was telling you I called, who was working for KEPSA that time, actually declined to be PS. It means she had a better position where she was working. Yeah, fungulia maji tafadhali. Nimeshika microphone. So, I don't need to buttress that point further. Najua mnasikia vibaya hata nikiendelea kuiongelea. The simplest way to become CEC finance, simplest. Governor anavai, opinion polls zinaonyesha anaweza win, mtafute umwambie, me, I believe in your policies, I just want to craft your manifesto. Give me what you want to achieve. Believe you me, you CPS seated here, you will be CEC finance of your county. If you don't become uniulize. You realize you are the only person because ladies shy away. They shy away because ulizwe unafanya nini kwa campaign. Then we mwenyewe you think, your camp is full. Huko kumejaa. Akina nani wamejaa? Kama wewe hau. Don't see political barazas and think, your camp imejaa. No. Haijajaa kwa hiyo nasema wewe chenye wewe unatafuta. It may be full in all the other perspectives, but I can tell you as a practicing politician, it is not full in what I'm talking about. Let me speak about, so media, make me be your friend. Kidogo tu hapo pale nini, ataenda hapo kama AWAC. Budget imesomwa, weenda tu sema story ya AWAC, position of AWAC. Na usicheke sana, enda ka stone face kidogo. Position of AWAC. In this budget policy statement, we are saying this. This could have been improved. This could have been done better. You'll create your brand within a very short time. And whichever camp that wins, they will look for you because there are very few people who have created their brand. Now, let me talk to all of us both in private and public sector. There is a lady who I will challenge you to go study about called Sheryl Sandberg. You can write former COO of Facebook or Meta. Sheryl Sandberg. Sheryl Sandberg. Go study about her a little bit. There's something I want to highlight that will help us. This lady was working for World Bank. In 2008, when Facebook was, all of us, most of us were not on Facebook because we thought it's a small startup, but nothing. It will collapse within a few days. She resigned from World Bank to go in a company that had no structures, to set them up. She went there. I want you, saa zingine tusisikize na huyo Sandberg, zisikize na wewe. Ujiweke in your shoes. You have a job paying you 250,000. And some guy is telling you to go and work for a startup. Those guys are not serious. So, she was working for World Bank, a small startup called Facebook. She went there to be the COO, to also help in setting up structures of Meta, or Facebook then. Currently, her net worth is around $3 billion US. $3 billion US is around 420 billion Kenya shillings. Meaning you can buy Hoytans, useme isiguzwe kitu, lakini imekuwa nyumba yako from today. Now it will not even scratch your net worth. There is something I want you to understand about her, in which I challenge all of us, those who are in the private sector, this is your point. When you are working for a small company or a big one, and you are going into the management, into the top management positions, let us learn as ladies, not just to look for monetary returns. Let's look for equity return. Any CEO of a bank today in Kenya, you are a CEO of a bank, and you are only negotiating your salary. That is not foresight. Negotiate for targets bound up with options of shares. Just tell them, you are making 3 billion profit now, I'll double it, but give me this number of shares after I do that. All these billionaires, majority of them became billionaires out of stock options. When it comes to work, you are rewarded through stocks, not just through a salary. This guy, Steve Ballmer of Microsoft, he was an employee of Microsoft. He was employee number 30 of Microsoft. He's now wealthier than Bill Gates. His net worth is higher than the person who started Microsoft. In that company you work for, always negotiate, try. I would feel very good as an owner of a company when the top management comes to me and tell me, wewe, tunatengeneza faida 100 million saa hii. Give us a target to make 1 billion, you give us 20% of your business. I'll be very glad. Because I'll see these are guys who are sharing my dreams. And they are not even asking me to pay them. They're asking me to pay them out of the money they make for me. So learn those things early. Number 2, evaluate your job. You could be in an inflexible position where you are in a hierarchical company. Let's say you work for Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. You are a middle-level manager there. Just try to think about the level of growth that you have to conquer to rise. Sometimes you evaluate and see, do I work for the elephant or do I work for an antelope? An antelope in the financial industry is the company that has the ability to grow in multiples. They have the ability to grow so much, so fast. You evaluate, can I get a 75% cut in my salary, go to a relatively not very old company, negotiate even a stake based on my performance, and within 5 years, you are worthy more than 50 times what you'd be worthy working in the rigidly hierarchical company. You are a DVC of KU. Okay, sawa. DVC of UON. Even if you become VC, can you own UON? You can't. Just imagine that professor of economics there. Just imagine the qualification that person has. But because the society has conditioned us, we want to go for Christmas and say, I'm the DVC of Kenyatta and Kimathi University. But you don't want to say, I am an advisor, let's say, of Coco. Some startup hata hakajulikani vizuri. But maybe the kind of growth you realize here is in multiples of what you can gain on the other side. When these big startups were starting, akina Flutterwave, ile ya Nigeria, just imagine a professor going there to become the advisor, and then they are given a stake. There is a story that's given of a guy who went to paint the offices of Facebook when Zuckerberg was starting. And Zuckerberg akauliza huyu jamaa painter, nikulipe na pesa ama shares? The guy said shares. He's now a dollar millionaire, a painter. So you need to check. Do you need to keep on then, look at your age, stability, you know, I work for Central Bank of Kenya, the best employer in Kenya, you know. Hey, wewe unaniambia story ya kuresign nini? Mimi hata sikwambii resign kaa. Lakini fanya hesabu, even if you do multiples of your salary, chukua mshahara yako leo, times by 12, and times by the number of years utafanya hiyo kazi. Then tell me, even if you have to be given that money to pay today, would you become wealthy? Then you have eliminated one way of not how to become wealthy. So think about it. Let me go to investments nikimaliza. By the way, now, Sherry Sadbag now runs a venture capital. Venture capital is something I'll be speaking about shortly, because I think we need to capitalize on that. Let me go to investments. I would have told you something about some lady called Luseguo. Ni vile nataka kukata sasa points juu naona. Lakini wacha niwasomee kitu kamoja ni screenshot. There is a lady called Lucy Guo. Guo ni G-U-O. Lucy kama tu nyinyi Lucy wewe unajua jina yako. Guo si kuna wenye wanaandika clothes, no, it's G-U-O. Lucy Guo started a company. Is a startup. The lady, she's a 31. She's worth around 1.3 billion US dollars. 31-year-old. It's not her first startup. She has done several. But this is what I laughed when I read about her. Just listen to this. She's 31, worth 1.3 billion US dollars. Then, as of 2024, Guo lives in Los Angeles. Now, she was living as a digital nomad for a number of years before buying. That's what I want you to underline. She was living as a digital nomad for a number of years before buying a 6.7 million US dollar apartment in 2020 in Miami, where her parties, sherehe, caused conflict with neighbors. Yeah, but nilikuwa nataka mpia mshike apartment ilikuwa ya pesa gapi. In 2024, she purchased another $4.2 million home in West Hollywood, and then purchased a 30 USD home, a 30 million United States dollar home in Hollywood Hills in 2025. Unaonaje hapo? We need to elevate our discussions now from talking about I invested in Asako, my 200,000. We must elevate our discussion. And I start my few minutes on the investments. Me husema hivi, based on the age of the many people here, some are our parents, but some are my sisters. Let me talk to all of us. Mimi kwa investments husema, either I'm investing to get a breakthrough, ama niwachane nayo. Kama siigii kutajirika, mi siigii hapo. Na kutajirika ni both ways. I'm risking. Kama siedi hapo nipate multiplications of my money, mi usiniambie mambo ya percentages. Hapo siedi. Because my reasoning is simple. You have 5 million shillings. You buy T-bills and boards. Let's say you buy a board. At a 115%. Let's work with 1 million. For simplicity ya mahesabu. After 10. Weka 10. 10 million. Umenunua government instruments. At 15%. That is nominal. Hujaweka inflation. So 15% of 10 million is what? 1.5 million, is it? If you already had 10 million, how will 1.5 change your life? That's usually my reasoning. Haya, uko na 1 million. You already have it, ni pesa yako. Na hauikupata juu ya boards, ulipata kwa njia zingine. So you buy a board of 15%. How much is that? If you already had 1 million, what will 150 do to change your life? So me, I look at it that way. So investments that we have to do, start with, because me naongea na nyinyi watu CPAs wote. Angalia dunia, hewa ya dunia kwanza. Dunia inaenda wapi? Hewa ya dunia kwanza. Economically speaking, is the world doing monetary easing? Is the world doing monetary tightening? Is the world lowering interest rates? Or is the world raising interest rates? You start there. And the world, don't bother your mind too much. Look at the US. All the other economies, they follow there. You don't need to bother your mind so much ati Germany wanafanya nini, bado wataendelea kukiu nyuma ya US. Don't bother with what Spain is doing. They'll do exactly what the US is doing. Because it's a superpower. Start globally. The bigger element of investment is interest rate. And I'll tell you how it affects everything in a short while. So, currently, the world has been lowering interest rates for the last 1 year or so. It's called monetary easing. You are lowering rates, so you are easing money to be in the pockets of people. So what happens when the CBR rate goes from 12% to 8.75%? What happens to both market? Do they become more attractive or unattractive? Unattractive. It's the same. So ukifanya hesabu usifanya yako ya globe hapa kwanza. Because there's very little you can influence as an individual. So you need to be where the world is going first before you even engage your mind into specifics. First, understand, we all have boats. But is there a tide? And where hii tide inapeleka watu upande gani? Because it doesn't matter where you are going. The tide will take you where it is going. So study first. US is doing monetary easing, all the other economies. So fixed income instruments are becoming non-attractive. So the world has money. Capital markets in the world, iweke tu kama kibasket kimoja tu for simplicity of understanding. So this global capital in here in this basket does not know nationalities, is not patriotic, it does not give a damn. They only care about return. So, where is the global money? They have been in boats, especially in the US. Why? Because if you fix your money in the US by buying US government instruments, at the very least you are sure about the fact that you are not going to lose in currency revaluations. Because the US currency is the global benchmark, is the reserve currency. But now they are coming down. So what does BlackRock do? Or Blackstone? These are big investment companies in the world. What is Bridgewater doing? What are they doing? You realize when the rates are low, money moves into equities all the time. That's why when the interest rates are coming down, shares are always going up. Because money is moving from fixed income instruments to the equity side. After global, you realize now we are in an era of equities. Now come to national. Kuja Kenya. You can even start regionally, Africa, nini, study them. When you come to Kenya, look at how we are faring. How are the companies reporting their manenos? They are not so badly off because majority are also in the region. So it doesn't matter to them how the Kenyan economy is doing. They are also in the region. Then come to the sectors. Now you come to Kenya. NSE has only 60 companies listed. They are in sectors. Agriculturals, automobiles, commercial and allied, insurance, there is banking up there, telecoms, there is energy. All those. In terms of sectors, ile CPO ulipata shule, haikuwa tu ya kufanyia mtu kazi, ilikuwa pia ya kutengeneza pesa. So itumie saa hiyo. uangalie sekta za Kenya. Wewe ukifikiria as a long-term investor, if you go to agriculturals, what are you looking at? Limuru tea, Kapchorwa tea, Sasini. What do they do? What do they rely on? Rain. Is there anything you can do about rain? Okay, so you think what you can do there. But there is only one component that is good in agriculturals that are listed. But their asset value is too high compared to their share value. So if you buy into Sasini and they sell land, you'll get so much money because it's at a value based on its assets. So you pick, let's say, banking. Banking has been booming in Kenya. It will continue to boom because when you have lazy people in government, when they are raising money, banks become the best beneficiaries because they buy all the boards. Today I was looking at the Absa results, which were out yesterday, which was usually Barclays Bank in Kenya. Their investments in government instruments in 1 year has gone up 24%. So they don't need to do anything, these guys. Take money from CBK, give the government, and make your billions. Is it likely to change soon? They may change in terms of interest rate trading to people, etc., but the appetite for money and government in the short term will only raise, especially when you are nearing elections. So how are banks likely to behave? You do your math there. Now, when you're evaluating a company which to buy shares, so umekuja sectors. Let's come to banking. Banking kuna kampuni gapi? KCB Equity, DTB, Standard Chartered. This is how you evaluate when you are buying a share of a bank. This is what you look at as the primary thing. You look at something called price to book value. Price to book value. That's the first. That's the first unit. Price to book value measures. When you're going today to buy a share in this bank, are you buying it at a discount or as a premium? At a premium. That's what price to book value measures. Is there any person here who is so excited about investment to come help me here? If you feel you are so, you really came here to learn, please come. I need 3 to help me do the presentation. 3 of you who will come first. Me hata sitasema kuja ama kuja. One from behind also. Kuja. Please come, doctor. Come. I also need one. Tumpigie makofi tafadhali. Hata siku najua unatuona ukiwa nyuma ya kamera. Because you know, I try as much as possible when I'm invited to such an event, not to come here and talk and go. Because I don't think that is the reason you invited me. You invited me to know something, to be of use to you. So investments are not motivational speeches. Because there is some analysis you need to do by yourself. Can one of you tell me one bank listed in Kenya which you would prefer, you can buy shares into? KCB. Please write KCB. One more, 3 more. Yes, please raise up your hand. Yes, my sister. Equity. Yes, Co-Bank. Yes, my Absa. Absa ndio ilikuwa Barclays Bank. Yes? NCBA. Very good. Hata tusimamia hapo. Nataka mchukue simu zenu. I know because we all did CPAs here. Price to book value means price of the share. Just write PB is equals to price of the share offer or divide by book value per share. Simply, mimi venye uifanya haraka, or is equals to, it will give you the same answer, is equals to market capitalization or market cap divide by shareholders funds, bracket core capital, Haya, shareholders funds is like this, kwa sababu nataka tumalize hii stories one time. Mkuje hapa tuko 1 2 3 4 5. Say you want to start a bank, and the requirement for starting a bank is 5 million shillings. Is it? Tuko watano. So the requirements ya CBK inasema tunataka 5 million ndio tuwape license. So tutage kila mtu 1 million. So all our money will be how much? And each will have what percent? 20%. Now this 5 million, that is what is called core capital or shareholders funds. We are the shareholders, it is our funds. If we start our bank and the bank makes 2 million in profit 1 year, and we decide as shareholders, we are retaining all of it as retained earnings. I want us to be sequential. It is 5 million. We led. In 1 year, we report a profit of 2 million. We meet as board of directors and we decide as shareholders, we are not paying our dividends, we are going to retain earnings. Our shareholders first becomes what? Excellent. You are making my work so easy. So our new shareholders first is, it is still our core capital. The difference between core capital and shareholders funds, core capital usually applies regulatory-wise. CPK will check core capital. But shareholders funds, for example, if you check core capital of Equity Bank, it will compare per region. Because it's more of a fulfillment of a condition. But shareholders funds is the most accurate because it looks at the core capital, plus let's say it is doing bank assurance, that company. The capital in bank assurance also is added. The core capital in Rwanda is also added if the bank has is in Rwanda. So shareholders funds is a more accurate manner. So I want us to analyze zile mumetupea according to price to book value. The first one was yours. Kila mtu nilimpea yake. Sidio? Ama? Oh, utahado KCB, hado Equity, hado there's one I want, Stanchart. There's one I want for a reason. And there is also another one I want, Mutaniruhusu, do Diamond Trust Bank. And these things, I'm not giving you the shares to buy. I'm just telling you what to do to evaluate a share. Just Google for yourselves. Because yako ni Equity. KCB. Somebody Google for me. KCB Bank. What is the market cap of KCB Bank now? Because it's a peak price in a trade kwa NSC today. What is the market cap of KCB now? How much? Weka 249, weka kwa formula, eh? Unaona ile ya is equals to. Now enda kwa KCB. KCB price to book value is equal. I know this sounds like jargons, but believe you me, it will go a long way into optimizing your own money. So, unaona ile formula nilisema, price to book value is equals to market cap of a shareholders funds. All this information is in public. So, weka 249 offer. Somebody check for me, what is KCB Bank shareholders funds up to Q3 of 2025? Because that's the latest. Somebody? Can we say this, eh? Hii row, hata ndio tufanye haraka. Hapa, wewe, my sister, wewe uliweza hawa maswali, utatuletea formula. My sister, wewe yako ni hii. Hawa ni watu wa Equity. Hawa ni wa KCB. Wale ni watu wa Stanchart. My sister go there, Stanchart. Na wauliza maswali, wakugogolie. Na ile ya mwisho, DTB. Hiyo tu formula niliwapea. Mimi sasa nataka summary. Hata mimi leo sasa ni examiner. Alafu mwenye anamaliza anakuja haraka. Ndio hii hall iko na CPS tupu. Ukimaliza one time unakuja. Unafanya tu go there tu. What is the market cap of NCBA today? Alafu pale chini, what is the shareholders funds of NCBA up to Q3 2025? Shareholders funds we do up to Q3 2025. Ukimaliza, you just come so that we go to the next thing. We are almost finishing. Ukimaliza, just come. Shareholders funds, ukigogo unaweka up to Q3. Hata AI inakupea tu answer hapa juu, immediate. I think you are done, you guys. You can't take more than 2 minutes. Please come. The returning officers, kujeni. I am sure you are done, and you do your calculator. Haya, kujeni tafadhali. Hata mwenye hajamaliza sasa tumaki hivyo. Just check what is the shareholders funds of KCB group. We are talking about group level, but Stanchart is Stanchart Kenya. Oh, please, Stanchart, you do Stanchart Kenya. Because we are looking at the Kenyan unit. But the rest is group. KCB is group, Equity is group, and the DTB is group. Please say, come now, we finish. Aya. My sister, read for what's...
Thank you very much. For KCB Group, we had the market capital at 249, a shareholders capital at 308.5 billion, which gives us relatively at 0.78, 8.0, that is 80%.
Yeah, for us at Equity, the market capitalization was 281B. The shareholders funds, quarter 3 was around 308 billion. That gives us 0.912.
Please, you can help us with the mic. There is one bank which is not here.
DTB, the market capitalization was 43.41 billion. The shareholders' funds was 99.45 billion, giving 0.44 or a 44%.
The last one, Stanchart. Yes. Yes.
We did globally first, so we had to do in Kenyan context. So 133B, and that is by around quarter 3 or 2025. And then the shareholders fund was 63.4B. So you do the math, it comes to, give me a minute, just give me, give me a minute. 133 divided by 8B. That is 0. No, sorry. No, 63.8 over 1.
The other way around.
Which is what I did.
I know it looks like a mistake, but it's the other way around. Yes.
Yes.
Apana,
No.
it's the other way around.
133.
130, you're 130 something,
Over.
divided by the other one.
Yes. 63.8B.
2.
2.08.
Please write somewhere. There is the reason why. So this is how you look at it. When you get anything below 1, it means it is trading at a discount. Yes, it's good to clap. It means that share by the time you are buying, now before you consider the next final formula I'll give you, it already shows you hii share nainunua kwa discount ama kwa. It's like hii bank tulisema hapa ya 5 million. Tuseme tunaiuza. Now for her equity KCB, yours was 0.8, meaning it is trading at a discount of 20%. It means our 5 million na tumechaga leo tunaanza bank. Mtu akuje atuambie tuuzieni hii bank. How much? Ainunue 4 million. Na tuiuze. So the share, that's how the share of that company is trading today at a discount. Equity was 0.9 something. It means the share has a 10% discount. Listen to this. DTB first. Can somebody tell me what you mean by that? DTB is 0.4 something. Please, what do you mean by that?
That's like a 5% discount. 50% discount. Like half the price.
Yours?
Stanchart is currently doing a premium of 120%.
Of 100%. So that's one thing you look at. There are many dynamics you look at called dividend payout. Most of the banks that are not local, all of them in Kenya trade at a premium. Why? Because they pay a lot of dividend. When they make profit, they don't retain a lot. Because Stanchart going to Rwanda is not Stanchart Kenya that needs to go there. It is Stanchart Group. So them they pay the entire dividend because their level of scope of reinvestment is just in Kenya. All the local banks that are not having a transaction happening, all of them, they are trading at a discount. Why? Because our current shareholder in the NSE is very dividend driven. But for a value investor, you can see the kind of value in our local banks. Because look at a bank trading at half its price. That hii bank tunaanza, mtu akuje na below 2.5 million, aseme anataka kuinunua. Na tumetaka pesa saa hii. Tukienda tu kuanza bank, aseme, hii bank yenu niuzieni, how much? At 2.4 million. Na tumetaka sisi 5. Those are the kind of opportunities in the NSE. The last formula for all the shares, beyond profitability, mutajiangalilia na the rest, I'm giving you the very simple one. It's called P ratio. Usitunyime mafuta. Na my sister Total Energies. Total is also listed. It is your things. Net earnings after tax. They have ever made. We will not even use the last year one. We will use the highest net earnings. earnings they've ever had.